I'm Captain Logan.
I'm Eric.
And per our tradition, Eric and I are going to review, belatedly, because this has been out for a while now, the most recent of the DC direct-to-video animated movies. It's Justice League Throne of Atlantis. And, Eric, this is what number on the scale of the New 52-derived continuity of DC movies?
Starting with Flashpoint or starting with War?
I guess starting with War.
Starting with War, going from worst to best, I'd probably go Son of Batman, War, this, Suicide Squad.
Oh, I actually just meant what number is it as far as how many have we had? But that's awesome. Good job.
Okay.
Suicide Squad doesn't count though.
This is number 3 because Suicide Squad is out of continuity.
I was going to say that doesn't count though. Yeah. That's an Arkham thing. But anyway, yeah, okay. So we've had a few of these now. So Son of Batman is one of these. I was trying to remember if it counted.
I think it's the same guy that voices Batman, but
yeah,
it's supposed to be in this continuity.
Yeah. Anyway, so Throne of Atlantis, loosely based, very loosely as far as I can tell, on.
I've never read Throne of Atlantis, but I've read the Jeff Johns Aquaman before this.
Yeah,
and he's a well-established Aquaman, and he's married to Mira. So
right. But anyway, what I was going to say for folks that don't know is that there was a Justice League Aquaman arc crossing each other a couple years ago called Throne of Atlantis. Dan reviewed it on the old weekly comic book show that we used to do live. So yeah, he liked it a lot. He was pretty ravey about it every time he talked about it. So I know a little bit just based on what Dan was telling us about it at the time. I really wanted to get that and read it before we saw this movie. But now that I just didn't get around to it. Now that I've seen it, it's pretty clear that they used this mostly as an excuse to do an Aquaman origin story and introduce people to him for this continuity. We thought it was kind of weird that, we kind of wished he had been there in the first place when they adapted.
I don't understand
Justice League, and it seems like the rationale there was let's save him so that he can have his own movie. And my response is, why don't you just put him there in the first place? You don't have to give him a lot to do in War, because after all, nobody has a lot to do. I mean, it's all very ensemble. Yeah. And then let it be more like that book. And I'm saying that having seen this movie now, because wouldn't it have been a lot more interesting if we'd gotten all of that political stuff and had it be more of a fight between the two worlds, and Aquaman being a child of two worlds in the sense that he actually knew about both and cared about both equally. And that's what I wish we'd gotten to see here.
That in the comics, it's got to be more political somewhat because he knows he's from Atlantis. Like here, he doesn't really have a stake in it. I mean,
exactly. In the comics, it seems like it's supposed to be much more of kind of a quagmire of allegiances, and here you don't really have that. But of course, I'm going to try to take the movie on its own terms as much as humanly possible. It's intended as an origin story, and so regardless of what it's based on, forget all of that.
Not as good as Mercy Reef.
Well, remember though that they had already decided they weren't going to go with that title when they made that pilot. but anyway, so we're going to talk about...
It's mentioned in this. They reference, like, let's go to Mercy Reef.
Yeah, 2 or 3 times. Oh. Is that a comic book thing?
I don't
That
remember.
was my thing, is I was like, I wonder if that means... See, because I didn't know Aquaman before Jeff Johns. I never read standalone Aquaman. I know you read some of Peter David
stuff, yeah.
Yeah. So Mercy Reef was new to me when that when that was going around a few years ago. I guess 7 or 8 now. Wow. We're getting old. Anyway, so you wanted to start with something positive, Eric, and I wish you would.
With this continuity, I guess I can say with this continuity, because we both kind of liked Assault on Arkham. But with this continuity,
especially compared to anything we've had in a while, I mean,
Well, we didn't like War. We hated Son of Batman.
Yeah.
So I want to come in positive. I want to just start with a compliment.
All right.
Aquaman has amazing mutton chops.
Oh my god.
Whole movie.
Is that the nicest thing you're going to say about this movie?
No, but I don't want to forget it, and I'm really pro mutton chops Aquaman.
Okay, so I guess we should just go ahead and dive right into it, Eric. But I'm shing.
It's better than the last two.
I don't agree with that.
Really?
Yeah, I would watch War again before I watched this again.
I thought they were having a little bit more fun with this. I didn't feel like it was as inappropriately adult. And I
okay,
like Aquaman.
There's some of that. That's cool. I couldn't get a read on Aquaman. He wasn't really a character to me. I was not engaged this entire movie. I had a very
Aquaman is a plank of wood, but I like Aquaman.
He's a floating plank of wood on the top of the water.
He doesn't float, he swims.
I gotta tell you, man, and I don't think this is just I wasn't in the mood for this or anything like that. I just wasn't engaged. It didn't hold my attention. I had a difficult time.
But I felt like it was more fun than War.
Well, I think it was trying to be more fun than War. I found myself face-palming a lot more dialogue. First of all, a lot of the voice casting in this is really bad. Really
Except
bad.
for Nathan Fillion.
Nathan Fillion's fine. I think Sam Witwer was a great choice for Ocean Master. Sam Witwer is a really, really good voice actor. He's got great voice modulation. I didn't even know it was him until I looked at the credits and went, awesome. I mean, he is a consummate voice. He's a really good voice actor. And I liked that performance a lot. The problem is, there were a lot of lines of dialogue where I kept finding myself going, that is weird emphasis on the wrong syllable. There was a ton of that. And there were also just a lot of lines that were so comic cliche, and I'll admit, part of the problem maybe is just that I watched so much of this stuff. But
we talked about this earlier. We got to touch on who this is made for.
We'll talk about that, and it seems like we have to do that every time we do one of these. But Eric, I don't know if you had this. There were 5 or 6 times, no fewer than 5 times, where I called a line of dialogue just before it was said. It just kept happening. I just kept going. I know what he's gonna say.
Yeah.
He just kept going to the well of the most obvious, cliched, like melodramatic superhero one-liner things. And while I'm thinking about it, I want to throw out the one that just really, or the line of dialogue that really grated on me, really bothered me. I just couldn't get my mind. I paused the movie. I could not believe that this happened. Batman is walking in a room with Superman, and we'll talk about the character interactions, but Batman and Superman walk into a room and they're investigating.
Oh no, you're gonna say the one line in the movie I liked.
This didn't make any sense to me. Superman mentions something. He's trying to investigate, and Batman says something, and Superman's like, "Well, I'm an investigative reporter. I know what he's doing." And Batman says, "Journalism is dead."
I liked it. I liked that line.
That doesn't make any sense. Why would Batman say that? But print journalism is dead. Journalism. Batman.
He's a print journalist.
Batman, yeah, but that's just an example of how sloppy the script is. Journalism.
Well, can I tell you yeah, I guess he should have said print is dead.
Print is dead, but there was a lot of that, and yeah, okay, I'm really nitpicking when I say this one, but I'm just saying these are just examples of like a script that I feel like
I hate it.
Well, let me say this real quick. There's just a lot of just all over the place. There's a lot of, it doesn't seem like anybody proofed this. I don't feel like this is a movie anybody really cared about. Is kind of the point I'm ultimately getting to. But you get to the end and oh man, I can't remember what it was. There's a line that is just like not the way you're supposed to say that phrase. Okay, you say yours and then I'll try to think of it because it's not coming to me right away.
I want to say I think the journalism is dead thing is not the print is dead thing.
What do you mean?
I don't think that's what Batman means. I think he's more talking about the 24-hour news cycle and how nothing ever gets reported on. I think that's the implication. But whatever. No, there's a line. And I feel like I bring up one of these lines.
That just sounded like a really careless line to me. I was like, no, journalism is. I mean, you might not think journalism's any good, but it's really alive and well. I mean, you know what I mean? Like,
I feel like I bring up one of these every single one of these movies. They have this weird thing where they want to be progressive. I'm not even saying they're pushing the agenda. They want to be progressive, and they go about it in the weirdest way. And I feel like there was one of these in War.
I just thought of it. Go ahead.
Okay, so it's 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 Shazam. He's not Captain Marvel. That's no longer a DC trademark.
Did you hear that? Did you hear that woman in the background that was like, Shazam?
No.
That was pretty funny.
There's
somebody cheering in the background somewhere. There's like, Shazam! And I was like, oh man, that's rough.
It's Shazam and someone else. It might be Cyborg. They touch down outside of a restaurant to come get whoever's in the restaurant.
Yeah.
And someone says, "Oh, are they on a date?" And I was like, I don't know what you're trying to. Are you trying to be progressive? Are you trying to have these people be dumb or big? They're superheroes that just touch down.
I think I might be wrong about this, but I'm almost positive that they show up to go talk to.
I think it's Superman
and Wonder Woman. Okay, I think you've missed what was who
Is
they were talking about.
Diner?
No. I think it's. See, now I'm not sure. What I was going to say is they're walking in to see Superman and Wonder Woman, and they're in disguise.
Yeah, Superman and Wonder Woman have glasses on.
And
it's about them.
Are you sure?
I'm positive because they're saying outside, and that calls Superman and Wonder Woman's attention.
No. Here's the thing. I guess I would have to watch it again. I thought that line came from one of the Justice League members. And that they were talking about Superman and Wonder Woman. I don't think it can. I think it was Flash or someone, whoever was there. Maybe it was Shazam. I don't think it was a bystander.
Okay, that makes more sense if that's the case.
I'm almost positive. No, I'm almost positive. But I mean, that wasn't a thing that I even thought to talk about, so I'm not prepared.
Well, I feel like there's one of these weird lines in every movie where I don't even know what you're trying to. I know there was one I brought up in the War. I'm sure if I go back and listen to the War review, there's just these weird.
The fact that even happened, I think is possibly more fuel for my fire. Just that there's a lot of careless voiceover and stuff. Just the way that they're animating and putting voices together, and sometimes they're not communicating quite right. But the line toward the end was, I forget if it was Cyborg or who it was, but somebody said, "Don't make this a learning moment." The line is teaching moment, right? I'm just throwing that out. Things like that kind of stood out to me. But anyway, whatever. I'm nitpicking. The biggest issue for me is that the movie doesn't start until 35 minutes in.
Yeah, they do. I mean, this is how you make a 2-hour movie, a 2.5-hour movie, and sometimes I don't even like it there. It's the getting the band back together. You don't get to do that in a 70-minute movie. You don't have time for that.
A lot of the time, these movies have a tendency to waste a lot of time with a big, long, very often really exciting, and fun action scene, but that kind of doesn't do anything to forward the story and is just there to get you in the mood for a slugfest. And this movie did 35 minutes of it, and it wasn't even that. It was so much. It was so much setup and introduction. You're not even introduced to Arthur Curry himself until 20-25 minutes in. Really?
Yeah. Well, and it's essentially a bad joke. It is, well, we don't really know how to get a hold of the rest of them.
Yeah.
And that's kind of funny theoretically.
Well, my problem was I thought it was. I couldn't decide how to read it. I had a hard time not seeing it as really cynical. This idea that these people are all out for themselves. They're not really that heroic. I don't
think it's supposed to be that. I think they're disorganized. They're not really a team yet, and they don't know how to get in touch with each other. I don't think it's supposed to be.
But they're still playing up this whole they all hate each other thing really hard, and
I don't think they think they're doing that. I think they're having they think they're having playful banter.
It didn't work for me.
That man hates everyone, though.
Yeah, that's fine, but I don't know. You got Superman and Wonder Woman dating, but beyond that, nobody really likes each other, and I don't feel like. But then we don't get enough time with them. And I think the most important thing. Let me back up for a minute. I think the most important thing to note is that there is no purpose for the Justice League to even be in this movie. They shouldn't be here. This should be an Aquaman movie. And of course, everybody's going to say, well, they couldn't have made this movie if it wasn't a Justice League. Yeah, fine, okay, but center it on an Aquaman movie. Do what you've done before, where you package it like a Justice League movie, but you have them more in the background, and you make it more about Atlantis, and you really sink your teeth into that world. And we didn't get to do that.
there's this thing that I've heard people talk about with the Next Generation films, where it's that they didn't really get making a movie outside of an episode. They had to have subplots and storylines for every single character, whether they serviced the film or not. Why is this film bookended by Cyborg?
Here's what I think they're doing. I think with that, and what's weird is that, in a way, Cyborg's the only person that really gets any character stuff.
Yeah, he's the only one that kind of gets an arc in Aquaman's movie.
Yeah, and Aquaman gets very, very superficially an arc, and the obvious one.
He's in a different place at the end than he is at the beginning.
Yeah, but he has this weird light switch moment where all of a sudden he's a good orator, and he thinks he knows how to be a leader, and just all of a sudden it's just like, and now I can lead. But anyway, no, you're right. I think with the Cyborg thing, what they're doing, I think if you went back and you watched War again, you'd be like, oh, they're trying to have through lines through these.
Then make it a TV show, because the Superman Wonder Woman thing's kind of cute. That doesn't service anything in this film either. It's just there. And I feel like that's kind of supposed to be some kind of art. I feel like they're trying to give everybody kind of a setup and a
running
payoff.
things to do, yeah. Here's the thing. I'm gonna.
Why is Shazam in this movie? We need a whole movie to introduce audiences to Aquaman, but Shazam can just show up?
No, he was in War.
Is he?
I thought so.
He's not in the comic book arc.
No, I know that.
Watched War since.
I know that. I thought they replaced Aquaman with him.
Oh, maybe I'm just gonna click the wiki link.
Look it up, but.
Okay. If that is, that's fine.
Yeah.
But
no, I thought he was there already.
He just showed up.
Okay, here's the thing. I've got to give the movie some credit. Now, not nearly enough is done with this, and when I say not, I mean really nothing. I mean, because we don't spend enough time with Superman and Wonder Woman together, but I think that there's certainly, obviously, there's supposed to be a thematic parallel, right, with characters trying to live in two worlds. That's why that's there. We don't do much with it, but that's why it's called back to again at the end, where they're trying to have this kind of optimistic message of you can do both. Superman has this and I like this. There's some nice quick things that just aren't developed, but there's a moment where Superman is talking to Wonder Woman about how he's not wearing a disguise. He can be both Superman and Clark Kent, and she's trying to disguise things for the first time, and she says, "Oh, we're hiding in plain sight," and he says, "I'm not hiding." I like that.
Yeah. I just looked it up. You're right. Shazam is in the last one. Weird.
See, you didn't even remember that. That's how memorable these movies have been.
No, they're. Can we just?
They're really throwaway. Yeah, I know. That's where I'm at right now.
They sell so little that
yeah.
they can't do. Like, they clearly sell far less now than they did in the golden period of this. And I mean, even some of the better stuff near the end, these DVDs look like garbage. Like, when you get the DVD and you pop it in, it is. I could make this DVD menu.
Oh wow! Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, and they've been that way for a while.
See, I haven't bought one in a while. What was the last one I bought? I can't remember. Maybe I bought Arkham. I think I bought that one. I can't remember. But this one I just rented on Amazon, and that's what I've done with these lately. Just
they're not even worth like it used to be. I would just buy them to review them. I don't do that anymore. I'll check them out at Redbox.
They're $15-$20. I mean, if you're pretty sure you're not going to care for it. And again, I'm not trying to walk into these expecting to hate them. It's just that consistently the last few haven't been great, and it's the same team, and I'm not liking them.
It's not like Son of Batman.
I was so indifferent that I can't say I liked it. You know.
I don't hate it, and that's okay. That's where these films have gotten.
Okay, but then tell me, if you
that's
don't,
a good thing.
Let me ask you this question, and then we need to get back to the whole "who are they for" question for a second, because I don't think we've quite explored that enough. But let me ask you this: so if you don't hate it, if anything is working, what is working?
It's kind of a fun action movie. Like, that's the most, it's like more so, I feel like it's more fun than War. That's the most it has going for it.
Okay.
That, I can't give you, there's nothing here. I'm not going to tell you this is good, but these have gotten to the point now where I think me not hating it is a win. That's how far these have fallen.
Yeah.
And
I just feel like they're really phoned in. I don't feel like any.
They absolutely are, and they're just clocking time till Gods and Mortals.
Yeah, they're not there to really tell a good story. Nobody seems excited to be there. I know I keep saying that, but that's just how I feel about it.
It's depressing,
especially in the writing.
Is Batman versus Robin, which is going to have Court of the Owls, and it's depressing that Court of the Owls debut in another medium is going to be one of these.
Yeah, and I mean they could surprise us. They surprised us a little bit with the Arkham one.
Yeah, but I feel like that had better source material. Like that was, I want to say there was probably a little bit of quality control on that because there's such limited Arkham material.
Yeah,
I don't know that. But I'm just throwing something out there. These are bad.
Back to your point a minute ago of who's this for. There's a part of me that thinks that they felt like they had to do an Aquaman origin thing because people might not know enough about this character, and people have always traditionally and historically, or at least this is how we think about it. Aquaman's been kind of a joke. By the way, the outrageous thing, I don't know about that. Did you notice it? You didn't notice it?
No.
They did a Brave and the Bold nod where there's a moment where we're just like really kind of shoehorned in. He says outrageous, and I was like, okay.
Oh, I didn't even catch that.
You didn't catch
I
it?
did catch that. I don't know if this is a reference or not. Cyborg's sonic gun looks just like Aquaman's the.
Yeah, but then he actually does that. So.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I don't know, but anyway, so but to your point earlier. These sell so few that why couldn't you just straight up adapt Throne of Atlantis? Except for the fact that in War you just didn't introduce Aquaman. But it seems like they did that on purpose because they had that stinger at the end of War, so that tells us that they had planned this, right? At least to some degree.
Yeah, it was the next big arc in Jeff Johns' Justice League, so...
But I'm just saying, like I heard a lot, and I haven't read it, so I don't know, but I heard enough good things about that it seems like that could have been a cool thing to adapt. And if you're not gonna, and as always, you don't have to be just like source material. On the other hand, there's no reason not to. If you're gonna do an origin, just tell a brand new Aquaman story and try to instead of trying to sort of kind of skirt around the edges of a recent arc because you think because it's recent you have to do it. Certainly they don't think that's because that somehow that's going to sell more copies. So I don't know why we're doing that even. But work on getting inspired, get excited about Aquaman, tell a brand new Aquaman origin.
And why does this have to be an origin story? Because this is the mature movies. These are PG-13. These are for more sophisticated audiences.
Most of the people that are going to buy this know who Aquaman
features
is.
Aquaman out of nowhere and doesn't do an origin story. They just bring him in and say, "This is who I am." They didn't start at the beginning. They didn't start with him becoming Aquaman.
Yeah,
and that was the show for kids.
Well, and also that's what the first arc that War was based on did with Aquaman. He just shows up.
Yeah.
Aquaman
and Jeff Johns doesn't give him an origin in the comics either.
And you know what I'm always saying about origin stories? Don't do one unless there's really a story there. Unless how the character gets their powers or finds out where they come from or whatever is there's not a story here. Aquaman's one of those characters that I don't see. I mean, you could probably tell a good origin story, but I just don't know why he necessarily needs one.
There is a good story there. This doesn't have this one doesn't have the room to tell that story, and it's like Green Arrow's origin. You can do a great story about Ali on the island. I can point you to 3 origin stories where they do that well. But you don't need it to have the character show up. Same thing with Aquaman. If you're going to do Aquaman's origin story, you have to do Aquaman's origin story. It's too sparse and interpretable to just glance over. Like, if you do it, you have to really do it and think about things.
I just feel like this is instantly a more interesting premise, and you'd want to use up all your space instead of wasting a bunch of time with, like you said, the band getting back together. If Arthur Curry knows where he comes from, and you have that more like self-assured, no nonsense, stalwart, put together guy, because the character that Jeff Johns was doing in his first arc for 52, I found instantly interesting and
he's someone
engaging.
Who knows where he comes from and has left Atlantis.
Yeah, exactly. And again, you don't have to do that. I'm just saying that if you're making such a big deal out of we've got to do the 52 versions of everything, why didn't they do the 52 version of Aquaman? Because he was that was one of my favorite books, and that was one of that was one of the few that a lot of people thought really, really worked. And I shouldn't say one of the few. I mean, a lot of people like 52 more than me. I shouldn't say that. I'm just saying that that was one of those books that was really touted up hard at the beginning as being one of the best 52 books. Why aren't we doing that version of Aquaman here? I don't get it. I mean, why is he such a punk kid? We're
clearly not doing it in the movies either. There's things.
Well, I mean, that's fine, but.
Well, but I mean, there's things you can point to where you can kind of be like, this is kind of clearly. In certain ways, DC feels like they're doing a brand similar to Marvel, but backwards. Like they're going from the New 52. We want things to look like the New 52. We want things to kind of match up, except for Aquaman, apparently.
And also, you can make me really like this character if you just make him the protagonist. He really needs to be front and center. I mean, what you have here, somewhat ironically, is a fish out of water story. Except it's a fish that, goes back to the water, and he's out of water when he's in the water. But
it's not a perfect metaphor.
No, it's really not. It's a nice Dr. Horrible reference there, Eric. But but I mean, like, we don't spend nearly enough time doing that. That should be the interesting part, right? I mean, like, when you have this kind of like uncertain, almost jaded kid who just doesn't know where he belongs, and he gets in a lot of fights and stuff. You could really make me like that character, but what I have here is kind of just a skeleton, and so once he goes into the water, we immediately just start doing a lot of more plotty stuff, and I'm like, why don't we take him there and let him have a sense of awe and wonder about the place, and let us get to explore Atlantis with him and all of that. We don't do that. We just take him there, and then immediately his mom gets murdered. Yeah, and it's just, I'm sorry, but if you don't care as the people making the thing, I'm not going to care. Speaking of Atlantis, I want to mention a couple of things that I think are really, really silly about the setup. Part of the reason that it's so obnoxious that it starts 35 minutes in is because ultimately it doesn't even matter that they're looking for Atlantis, because Atlantis finds them. Because the Queen is like, oh, we've got to make first contact with the Justice League. Now, the Justice League doesn't even think there is a Justice League, but somehow or rather,
they're the Super Seven.
But so the Justice League can't even get themselves organized enough to get together and deal with a big threat. In 2015, with the kind of technology we have, they aren't organized. Okay. And then, for some reason, this Queen thinks that the most important people to talk to is this group that doesn't even know if there's a group, and it's just because they have superpowers. And I get that, the idea of they have superpowered people now, and so they're becoming more of a threat. So we have to do something about it. That's fine, but I just think it's really funny that we try to make a mystery out of it, or not a mystery, but we try to make like an investigation out of it, so that Batman can do detective work and that kind of thing. And then ultimately, she just goes, we need to go find the Justice League. So they were going to find them. I don't know why we followed the Justice League around for 35 minutes.
Yeah, well...
Right?
Yeah.
Was there anything... Yeah. What am I missing? Was there anything about that detective work that led them to them? And no, not really. I'm pretty sure they still were going to go find them. So that was all really pointless.
I feel like they're running into an issue, or they're trying to resolve a previous issue. One of the big things when Bruce Timm was running this line was they weren't allowed to do characters. It got to the point where they made a Batman movie, a Superman movie, and Justice League movie.
Yeah.
Because the Wonder Woman movie didn't sell. The Green Lantern movie didn't sell. Things like that's why we never got. Apparently, they had a script for Green Arrow Quiver, and they were told no because this won't sell. And
which is hilarious because I think if they did it now, they'd totally let him.
I don't know why they don't do it now.
Yeah,
but the thing is, I feel like this and Flashpoint, they're trying to rectify that by making it a Justice League movie. In Flashpoint, Barry is the main character. It is all from Barry's perspective.
It works. I mean, it's not great, but it works.
That's what they should have done here.
Yeah.
The problem is they get into this... If they call it Justice League, I think they feel required to make it Justice League. And not... You know what I mean? Like, I feel like if the first 30 minutes were just Aquaman, and then it was like people complaining about Assault on Arkham being called Batman Assault on Arkham. They're like, Batman's in 5 minutes of this movie. I don't know if that's a consideration, but like I feel like that's part of it. Is they're like, oh, well, it's a Justice League movie. We should make it all about the Justice League.
Well, then my answer to that is twofold. One, the creators, if they think that the only way they can sell these things, and that's been the case, and I was talking about that earlier, they think it's got to say Batman, Superman, or Justice League. If that's the case, put that on there because you know that'll sell it, and then make the movie you want to make. And then
they stopped making the Superman movies.
And then fans need to just understand that that's what it is. If it says Batman Assault on Arkham, expect the Arkham thing and the fact that you're seeing Suicide Squad to be the movie. Like people complained that the second Batman Superman movie, back when Bruce Timm was involved with these, was more of a Supergirl movie, but that's the only way you could have had that. I don't know. I think I'm gonna say this: fans need to be more savvy and be okay with it, and not worry as much about. And I know I'm a big title guy. I just mean the thing on the front, the Justice League part or whatever. We need to be less worried about that because, frankly, the only people that are buying them are us big superhero fans that buy all this stuff.
No, I don't get why they don't just make...
we should be more savvy because we're the only ones buying these. You know what I mean? So, yeah. Make the movie you want to make, regardless of what you feel like you have to call it in order to sell it. I can't believe I'm saying that. I hate that I have to say that, but that would make this a better movie. So I know people are going to say, well, Cap, you're a hypocrite. You were always complaining about titles not matching the movie well enough. Yeah, but if it means that I'm going to have to wait around for half the movie before it's actually about the person that it's supposed to be about, and then his character is completely lost in the shuffle, I don't want that. That's a lot worse.
Yeah, well, and it's different than titling a movie something that doesn't make sense and having to title a movie something that doesn't make sense because of the end of the line. That's a different thing.
Yeah.
I don't care about these. I mean, we've been saying that we were gonna do this for a while, and I didn't watch it until today. I didn't watch this until I had to watch this. One, based on the previous couple of films, I kind of assumed that if I didn't have it fresh in my mind, I wouldn't remember it at all.
Yeah.
And two, I just didn't care. I'm not excited about the next one. I mean, the biggest thing about the next one is that Weird Al is going to be Dollmaker.
Oh, that's really cool. I didn't know that.
That's the only thing that's I'm bummed that they're doing Court of Owls because I don't want these people to do that.
Yeah.
I feel like we're just clocking time till Gods and Monsters, which is the big Bruce Timm Justice League film that's supposed to kick off the new Justice League cartoon that he's doing.
Yeah, and that's exciting.
And that's kind of like.
And as always, let me say this because I know when we just rail on these, sometimes people get irritated with it. If you really enjoyed this as just an action fest thing, that's great.
I liked it more than War.
It's just I don't know, man. I've had to sit through so many of these things that I get bored if there's not a little bit more meat to it. Let me ask you this question. Can you answer this for me? Why does it always look like with these that there's Vaseline on the lens?
I don't know.
Why is that? Why do we have this weird haze thing? Like, does it do? Is that playing in visually, stylistically, in any way whatsoever. In the scenes
that would
where
fit here because it's fishy.
well, here's the problem though. It's like that everywhere, and then I was going to say this. Then when you get into Atlantis, they still have that same filter on top of a water filter. So now everything is so fuzzy. I feel like I keep crossing my eyes looking at it. That really was irritating. I just don't know why we have that. Well, that's okay. That's good. I mean, because I'm glad if your eyes weren't going cross-eyed, but mine were. Anyway, I don't know.
Like I said, it's
The animation looks okay. I mean, it's fine. It's just I don't know why we had that
I don't want to
pace
sound
thing.
like I hate this. I don't hate this. I don't care enough to hate this. This film is nothing. I hated the last one. This film is nothing. It shouldn't exist. They don't care. I don't care. They're just cut the production values and just make these $5 DVDs that just get thrown in the bins. Make them like what was that Justice League one we never did? The one you liked.
Oh, we need to do that at some point. It's cool.
Yeah, just make things like that. Like this doesn't need to exist.
It's not
and
great,
I don't
but I
feel like
it.
they wanted to make it exist.
And if you're only going to tell half an hour story, then make it a half an hour movie. I mean, really.
Well, I don't think people are going to pay $20 for a half an hour movie, but
well, no, but then don't tease me like you made an actual 70-minute movie. You didn't make a 70-minute movie. You know what I mean? Like it feels like somebody phoned in a high school research project. But also, why are we still in Justice League origin territory? Why do we get to the end of this and now it feels like we have an actual Justice League? You know, why do we need 2 movies before we finally say, oh, we should have meetings for this group we formed? Really? Okay.
well, you know what? I don't think it would have been as bad if
They think they're telling a multi-part story. They think they're doing this.
yeah.
They think they're doing a multi-part story.
We'll see if they even get another one. Because the next one is Batman versus Robin, which all right. This is the thing. The next one's Batman versus Robin. Has Court of the Owls? Not that story. This is a story that, while I don't love it, everyone else apparently loved Court of the Owls. Why wouldn't you just do that story? You have a story that can kind of totally work. I mean, you cut out some extraneous bits. You can make that a 70-minute movie. Why don't you just make that story? Why would...
What I want to see happen is I want to see Court of the Owls. You've read all of Court of the Owls, right? I want to see Court of the Owls done exactly straight, like a direct adaptation from that medium
you want to have to
this movie.
Watching your TV?
I want the. Don't make my joke before I make my joke. I want the DVD. I want it to not even come out on DVD. I want it to only come out streaming and to tell you that you're only supposed to watch it on a tablet. So that when you get to that scene, you have to flip it. You ruined my joke for me, and I will never forgive you for it.
Yeah, but don't most tablets have the autocorrect thing, so we keep flipping it as you flip it?
It's not a perfect joke, okay? It's not a perfect metaphor, and it's not a perfect joke, okay? All right? We shoot these a little bit late in the evening. You've got to expect my jokes to sometimes have a little bit of holes in them, okay? We're treading water.
You have this thing that I think people would be excited about. If you told people you were doing...
If you told people you had to flip your tablet, they would totally buy that movie.
But if you told people that you were doing Court of the Owls, I think they'd be excited. No one cares about Batman versus Robin that has Court of the Owls. Like, who cares? I don't know.
Yeah, what you're saying is that they're making counterintuitive moves that seem like they're somehow or rather supposed to be business moves, but they immediately evoke a better business move. And you know what that sounds like? It sounds like DC Comics for the last 4 years.
That's true. It sounds like the New 52, yeah.
It's crazy.
Sounds like Dan DiDio and Jim Lee.
Yeah, I mean, are they in charge of the animation thing? It sure sounds like it sure reads like it. I don't think they are. Anyway, I don't know what's going on, but there's something of that same mentality that somehow seeped into this.
Yeah,
but anyway,
I just don't care anymore.
Yeah.
I used to be excited for these. When they used to talk about how like people weren't buying enough and the line might end. I was like, oh, I don't want the line to end. They're not all great, but You know,
well, here's the thing.
like most of them.
I don't want us to do these and then spend the entire time talking about how we wish we weren't watching them. So, like, because people are going to say in the comments, well, if you guys don't like them, then you should just quit watching. The thing is, this has been a tradition for us for, what, 4 or 5 years now?
Yeah.
And I think that's the reason we keep doing it. And again, I want them to be good. Certainly, of course. But as you said...
You know, if we were like, you know what, we're done, the next one is going to win an Oscar.
Yay! Everybody,
first ever direct-to-video Oscar.
Yeah, the next one is going to be so good that they're going to retroactively release it in theaters.
Yeah, exactly.
And everybody's going to be like, well, you guys have to review that. We're like, nope, we said we're done. And then it turns out to be, it's the best thing ever. And then they release like 3 amazing, and we buy like the $100 special edition. And yeah,
I don't want any of these to be bad, but they need to hire Mark Millar. They need to hire someone who can hype these films, because they can't. And maybe it's because they don't care, and then it shows in the work that they don't care. But like, you even like look at the DVD like documentaries, or like they release those things on YouTube now, where it's just like sneak peek at the next one. They don't care. They're like, oh yeah, we're doing Aquaman.
It's the next one on the list. They've got a department, and they hired people for that department, and it's just a job.
This is a product for the bottom line now, and it didn't used to be like that.
I never thought that past the first year anybody would ever see a 4 or 5 minute superhero rewind. But when I finally get to these, when I'm 45. You might see some 4 or 5 minute superhero rewinds. That's all I'm saying.
There's nothing here.
Yeah, that's all.
Like,
that's it.
I mean, like, get rid of like Dark Knight Returns, Batman Year One, where they're like direct adaptations.
Yeah.
These films, like, they're not Superman versus the Elite. They're not Under the Red Hood. They're not New Frontier. Like, these are nowhere near.
And so you get me excited just mentioning those movies, and I'm like there's just this huge chasm between them. Where anyway, we need to stop complaining.
Well, hold on, because
he's still going. He's still gonna complain.
I'm still going.
That's fine. Go ahead.
Even the ones I didn't like say Wonder Woman.
And you're wrong, because I loved that.
I didn't like it, but I would still watch that over this, because at least I can be like, I think you're executing this wrong. I think, like, I can have a discussion about why I don't like that movie.
And you can tell that
to say about this movie.
You can also tell that they weren't just given a job and they threw it in the can and they never looked at it again. Those people wanted to make that movie, and you could tell.
Yeah, they wanted to make a Wonder Woman movie, and I just disagree with how they made it. These people don't care, and I don't care.
Yeah. Yeah, what are you going to do? Anyway, well, clearly we shouldn't have talked about it this long, even. But
no. I feel like I've been saying I don't care for the past half hour.
Yeah, the viewers don't care either. They've left already. Anyway, well, everybody, thanks for watching. We sure appreciate it. And Eric, come back and do a commentary with me or something soon.
Yeah, we'll totally. We should do Under the Red Hood. We should go back to the glory days of these.
And I feel like I promised somebody Under the Red Hood. We'll have to talk about it. We'll figure it out.
Me.
Well, was he? Okay, well.
We've talked about doing it before.
I need to start making a list of promises I made to people to co-host certain things, because there are a few. Okay, we will try to do that soon. Because Eric hasn't been on the channel in a while, and I miss doing stuff with Eric. So we're gonna try to bring some more videos for you. Well, anyway, thanks again for watching, folks. We sure appreciate it. We will see you again, hopefully very shortly. I'm Captain Logan.
I'm Eric.
See you later.